In May, the Severn Valley celebrated the 50th anniversary of diesel preservation through one of their ever-popular diesel galas. And at Arley, we see a pair of visiting Class 20s, 2189 and 20048, as they leave for Bridge North. The event hosted two Class 31s, 31270 Athena and 31466, and we see 31270 approaching Bank Farm near Arley, wearing the attractive Regional Railways livery that was carried by 5 members of the class in their later years. The other Class 31 was 31466, the only member of the class to ever wear EWS livery, which she carried in service from May 1998. And we see 31466 as she enters Bewdley, with the 1730 from Kidderminster Town to Bridge North. The Class 31s are powered by the proven English Electric 12-cylinder CSVT engine, rated at 1470 horsepower, that was later used in the more powerful Class 37s. And climbing away from Arley, 31466 passes Bank Farm as she heads for Bridge North. 'Visiting from the Telford Steam Railway was Class 37 37263, and wearing the BR General or Departmental Grey livery from the early 1990s, we see 37263 leaving Foley Park Tunnel as she heads for Bridge North. (37263's visit to the Severn Valley really gave her a chance to stretch her wheels, and treating her enthusiast to a bit of thrash, 37263 is opened up as she accelerates away from Bank Farm and heads towards Highley. At Arley, we see 37263 looking absolutely immaculate in departmental grey livery as she waits to pass GWR HST 43188 Newport Castle with 43186 Taunton Castle on the rear as they arrive with the 1400 Kidderminster Town to Arley shuttle. The Diesel Gala celebrated 50 years of diesel preservation, and what finer way to illustrate how far diesel preservation has progressed in the last half a century than seeing a GWR HST leave as 37263 gets underway simultaneously as she continues to Kidderminster. "37263 was built at English Electric's Vulcan Foundry in January 1965, being delivered new to Darnall Shed, and remained an Eastern Region machine until May 1985, when she was transferred north to Eastfield Depot in Glasgow, and crossing over the River Severn, she disturbs the tranquility at Victoria Bridge. In May 1988, 37263 became a Welsh machine when she was allocated to Cardiff Canton, and following an F exam at Lara in late 1989, she was repainted in the BR General departmental grey livery of the civil engineer, and we see 37263 as she gets underway from Bewdley. Also at the Gala was one of the GWR's Castle HST sets. In what was probably to be their last summer in regular service, we see 43188 Newport Castle and 43186 Taunton Castle as they leave Foley Park Tunnel and head towards Bewdley before rounding Safari Curve at Sandy Lane. Returning from Arley, 43186 Taunton Castle leads 43188 Newport Castle as they cross the iconic Victoria Bridge with the return 1500 Arley to Kidderminster Town shuttle service. In addition to the castle set, the event also included 2 power cars from Rail Adventure, 43465 and 43484, and we see these power cars in back-to-back formation hauling the ScotRail set, with Mark IIF DBSO 9707 and 47712 Lady Diana Spencer on the rear as they leave Foley Park Tunnel. For many, the highlight of the gala was the ScotRail set, and approaching Bank Farm near Arley, we see 47712 Lady Diana Spencer with DBSO 9707 and visiting Class 60 60062 on the rear as they head the 11 o'clock Bridge North to Kidderminster Town. Built by Brush at their Falcon Works in Loughborough, 47712 was new as D1948 and entered traffic in August 1966, before being equipped with ETH in 1974 and renumbered as 47505. However, in 1979, she was one of a dozen Scottish Class 47s chosen to become part of a dedicated pool of locomotives fitted with push-pull equipment to operate ScotRail Express services. Emerging from Crew Works in 1979 and allocated to Haymarket Depot in Edinburgh, 47712 was named Lady Diana Spencer in April 1981 and later received the iconic ScotRail livery in 1985. And we see 47712 as she enters Bewdley. Leaving Bewdley, 47712 with Rail Adventure power cars 43484 and 43465 on the rear, past Sandy Lane with a Highley to Kidderminster Town shuttle. Having worked ScotRail services for 11 years, 47712 returned south in November 1990 when she was reallocated to Crewe Diesel Depot for parcel duties. But evoking memories of push-pull services between Edinburgh and Glasgow, 47712 is opened up and darkens the skies with exhaust as she approaches Foley Park Tunnel. The Severn Valley is currently home to no less than 6 Class 50s, and we see one of these, 50035 Ark Royal, leaving Highley with the 1730 Bridge North to Kidderminster Town. Built by English Electric in August 1968, 50035 was the first Class 50 to be named, receiving the name Ark Royal in January 1978, and is today preserved in her post-1978 pre-refurbished condition, and we see Ark Royal as she nears Arley and approaches Bank Farm. Also in action were 2 of the line's Class 52 Western diesel hydraulics, D1015 Western Champion and D1062 Western Courier, and we see Western Champion as she leaves Arley and crosses Victoria Bridge. The Class 52 Westerns were fitted with twin 65-litre Maybach V12 engines, which generated some 2,760 horsepower. And rounding Safari Curve, we hear Western Courier's Maybach V12s to glorious effect as she approaches Foley Park Tunnel. D1062 Western Courier was built at Crewe and entered traffic on the 6th of May 1963. And wearing a headboard celebrating her 60th anniversary, we see Courier as she leaves Bewdley with the 1830 Kidderminster Town to Bridge North. Also at the event was another 1970s veteran, Colas-owned Class 56, 56051 Survival, which is seen leaving Foley Park Tunnel as she heads the ScotRail set, with 47 712 Lady Diana Spencer as they head a Kidderminster Town to Highley shuttle. The Class 56s were built between 1977 and 1984 and proved to be powerful and reliable performers during their BR careers. Powered by a 16-cylinder Ruston power plant that generates some 3,250 horsepower, we see 56051 as she passes Bank Farm after leaving Arley. Also visiting the event was Class 60 60062, which had recently been repainted into a unique steel-on-steel livery featuring a bold flame design. The livery is designed to symbolise the importance that DB Cargo and the Class 60s have played in transporting metal products around the UK. And we see 60062 with the ScotRail set as they head away from Arley. We conclude our review of the Gala with some modern traction, as DRS Class 88 88001 Revolution leads the ScotRail set across Victoria Bridge. The Class 88s are a dual-mode electro-diesel that use either a Caterpillar C27 4-stroke V12 diesel engine or take current from the 25 kV overhead, and are indeed a sharp contrast to the other classic types seen earlier at this event.